What's up, everybody? Stephen Bogran here, Pro Physique, and today I want to talk about having a gym rival. Alright, everybody, so what is that all about? Why do I need a rival? And so I'm going to put this into the context of a couple different things. But first, I want to talk about competition in general, right? So when we look at competitions, a lot of the people who are watching my videos are either going to be competing in powerlifting or bodybuilding. However, that doesn't mean that those are the only competitions that you're going to do. I also have people that are training for marathons as well, right? As well as any kind of other sports that might be recreational that somebody still wants to do well in. So what is it about competition that I feel is important? And so physique competition, in its very nature, tends to be a little bit more subjective of a sport, right? Whereas something like powerlifting is very objective. You either made the lift or you didn't. There are a set parameters for whether or not that lift is legal and counts. Physique competitions, right? Now, in general, we know what the judges are looking for, but each judge might have a small difference in preference, and each judge might have a difference in preference even between two competitions or two shows, depending who shows up and is on that stage. And so why is that competition important? Well, let me break it down to you. Competition forces you to be better. Competition forces you to watch other people. Competition forces you to try harder. And that is why I think that it is important for you to have a gym rival, right? So even if that's just a friend that you guys sort of give each other a hard time, and you compete and you're always pushing one another, that can do it, right? That can be enough. Because then when you have that person there consistently pushing you, forcing you to get better, right? That helps, right? Because it's the same thing that I tell all of my clients is the most important thing is consistency, right? If you are consistently being pushed, if you are consistently trying harder, you're consistently going to get better. That rival, having that person that you are competing with, whether they even know it or not, doesn't matter. A lot of people tend to set rivals or goals, right? We look at people that are at the very top of the game. And I am no different in that aspect. I look at the best powerlifter in my weight class, and that's who I want to be competing with, right? I look at the guys who do the same kind of competitions that I do when I do physique competitions. That's who I want to look better than. There is nothing wrong with that. Now, we call that an ego-related goal orientation, right? So it can be very difficult to upkeep that if you're not consistently being better than somebody else. So within the idea that you want to compete, you want to be driven to be better, right? You also want to be driven to be improving and to just be better than yourself. So when we look at how we are structuring our goals, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be one of the best. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be better than the strongest person at your gym, right? Those are good goals. But perhaps a better goal would be to find somebody that's a little bit closer to you, right? To where there's not such a gap in performance or such a gap in placements, right? So if I am a novice bodybuilder, it is not a realistic expectation for me probably to think that I'm going to go do better and look better than a pro bodybuilder. They have invested more time in it. This is what they do. They have earned their keep. They have earned that pro card status. Now, what I can look at is maybe I find competitors that are at the national stage level, right? And those are the people I use for motivation right now, right? It all comes down to setting goals in a realistic fashion. I get a lot of competitors that come to me and they say, I want to be on the Olympia stage. Now, that is a great goal. And for a long-term goal, that is something to think about and really put your time and effort into. Awesome. But if you have not won a show, our first goal needs to be to win a show, right? If you've won a show, then what should our next goal be? Maybe our next goal should be winning overall, right? Then, national qualifier. Get qualified. Win an overall at the national qualifier, right? Go to nationals. Place at nationals, top 10, top 5. Every single time your goal is getting a little bit higher. We're stepping it up, So there's a natural progression to the way that we're looking at those goals. This is no different from who we should be looking at to help motivate us and push us through our goals. We need to be looking at people that are close to us in our natural progression so that we have someone so we can actually have achievement. Because if you have a goal that you never are able to actually achieve, that goal is not benefiting you as much as it could be, right? Because what is part of the beauty of having goals? It's fucking achieving them. That's the best part, right? If I have a goal to deadlift 600 pounds, that is my current goal, right? Next month. Well, if I'm not close to that, if I'm not even within striking distance, well, you know what? That doesn't do me a lot of good. That's all piss and vinegar at this point. So what do I want to do, right? Set realistic goals. So I wanted to look at setting an American record. And I looked at what the American records are. Whew, they're all over 700 pounds for my weight class. I'm just not there yet. So what do? We scale it back. We look at realistic goals. 600 pounds is the goal for a deadlift this time around. You know what it's going to be next time around? Well, it's going to depend on how training goes, but it's probably going to be about 650. And then each time, obviously, as a more progressed lifter, that progression, how much you can add on, tends to come down. You get diminishing returns. So maybe the next time it'll be 670, maybe 680, then 690, right? Then 700. So when I'm looking for people that I want to compete with, I still watch the best because it's fucking awesome, right? And so we can see and we can learn if we really, really break it down and look at them. But I also just look at anybody who's better than I am. And I love to use people that are close to me as competition. Half the time I don't even tell them. It reminds me of back when I was a younger lad. And I used to have a Ford Ranger, right? And actually, I still do it every once in a while in my Toyota Corolla. And what I like to do is I like to get next to somebody at a light, and they don't know, but we're racing. It's dumb, but it's fun, and it makes you feel good. And it's one of the biggest parts of the process in this whole lifestyle and this fitness and this journey is enjoying the process and being happy with it. And so if you can't be happy about it and you can't enjoy the process, what's it all about, right? I think that so often we look at the narcissistic tendencies that the fitness industry tends to bring, and we lose sight of the fact that it's about being positive, it's about being happy, and it's about feeling good, and it's about adding value to our lives. And so if we're not doing those things, we are missing out on a very large part of what it truly means to be healthy, right? So I know that right now I am actually searching. I am looking for a new gym rival, for some new competition, right? Because I feel like for me, there are a lot of people that are very far in front of me. There are a lot of people that are behind me, right? And I want to continue to set my sights, my goals to grow. Remember, people push you. Having goals pushes you, and that is why having a gym rival, a competition, can be so beneficial to what you're doing. Until next week, guys.